We want to say that, of course, we understand this is an uncertain time. We know it could be frightening for many of you, so it's very important to assess your own mental health right now.
And this afternoon, I got a chance to speak with a counselor today who went over some important information you and your family can use when talking about the coronavirus. Well, joining us right now is Tasha Ganther, psychotherapist with the Inner Peace Counseling Services. Thank you so much for joining us.
Not a problem.
The big discussion has been coronavirus. It's been all over local news, national news, and you are receiving a lot of calls about coronavirus. What are folks saying, or what are they calling, or what do they want to know?
Well, I think most of our clients here are coming in questioning with concerns about if they're going to be affected, what's going to happen, and just a catastrophe style of talk, which happens a lot in this type of a climate. When you have folks with anxiety or depression or other clinical disorders, even just normal anxiety, which most people have, people start to worry and they get really fearful. So they want to come in and just check in to make sure that they're okay. So a few of our clients have been coming in person, and there's folks who are calling to ask questions about how to cope during this process, and we just give them basic information about how to cope emotionally, because we don't want them to overthink this. You know, crisis happens and disease happens and certain things happen in our community because of, you know, illnesses and viruses, from the flu virus, which was a big thing last year, and this year is this new strain of a virus that is very unfamiliar to us as a people and as a country. And it's important for us to be able to just pay attention, listen to what is happening with the CDC, be careful of having conversations with people online like Facebook, Instagram, you know, those types of people who want to, you know, catastrophize the situation and make it a doom and gloom conversation.
Do you feel, because of the uncertainty of coronavirus, that people are they're gravitating to false information that's out there?
Yes, that's the nature of the beast today. We have social media. So with social media comes all of these unfortunate factors where people will read a snippet on YouTube and then, oh my gosh, you know, we're going to die. In the reality, we're not going to die. We just have to listen, pay attention, and get our information from factual sources, not on Facebook, not YouTube, not Instagram. Go to the CDC. The CDC website is effective. They're watching this virus very closely. They're putting out information every day. So if you want to know real information, go to the real people that have the information to know how to protect yourself and what you need to do.
How many calls have you received, or is there a percentage increase of calls have you received about the coronavirus?
Well, I would say most of our clients, when they come in, since this has happened, I just came back from vacation. The first question, because I went over to Indonesia, I went to Bali on vacation recently, and when I came back, the first thing that everyone asked when I came back into the office was, are you okay? Did they quarantine you? Did they do everything was a catastrophe? And I was like, no. It was clean, it was clear, there was no major problems. You know, I think as long as we know that our governmental system and policies are in place to protect us, I think that is the most important thing. So I just had to reassure them to let them know at this point of the journey of where we are in the world that we are in, things like this will happen. We just have to learn how to cope. And we have to learn how to manage situations like this with information that's factual and not get irrational.
Not get irrational and to cope. Very good keys. Are there other tips that you would suggest other people they take before jumping to conclusions?
Well, the first thing, like I said, was just unplug. Don't get too caught up in social media, right? You know, recognize when you're anxious, recognize when you're overwhelmed, and ask the question, do I need to talk to someone? Do I need to get information that will help me feel better? Do I need to check in with my doctor? You know, because a lot of the doctors are answering those same questions if people are, you know, unfortunately having medically fragile situations, medically fragile challenges, which are going to be the most affected with this virus. So it's important to really know the information and check in with yourself and the people around you just to feel a little bit better about the situation. And then check in with support systems. You have family, I have family, we all have family, or we have friends, or we have social groups. And if you don't, then find someone to talk to, which is whether it's finding a therapist if you're overwhelmed, going to the health department to get more information, or calling the health department to get more information so you feel a little bit more supported. Or your church. You know, a lot of people have church families. So it's important even with your church family to, you know, check in with them if you feel supported by them so that you are staying rational as possible and not overwhelmed with this.
How, as a parent, I'm a parent myself, how do parents talk to their young children about coronavirus? Because I'm pretty sure they hear it at school all the time. What is a good technique or how to talk to your child about coronavirus?
Well, the best thing is always assess your child's developmental milestone, where they are. You want to know that your child can even receive the information. Some kids, you don't have to say anything but have a plan, right? Create a routine, start a formula conversation. Oh, this is how we wash our hands. Educate them. If you have a child that's really, really young, that's about as far as you can go, because you don't want to tell them a story and then they become, scared or fearful. So it's important to really know where your child is. If your child is older, you want to have the conversation. You want to let them know what the CDC says. You want them to visit the website with you to look at the facts and look at the information, and then make a decision about crisis planning. If this does become a crisis, as a family, here's our rules. Here's where we're going to be. Here's where we meet if something should happen. And just follow through with those steps to make sure your kids feel safe and that they're prepared and they have information. But also transparency, but also make sure you check in with your child's developmental place of where they are. Because you can't have that conversation with a 3-year-old, but you can with a 16-year-old. So as long as you know where your children are in their development, it's going to be quite easy to create a plan and have a formula that makes sense for you and your kids.
Final tips or any other words that you would to say, any other advice you'd like to give?
Self-care. At this part of the journey, it's important to recognize that even with this virus, you read the CDC website, they're telling people who are medically fragile to be very careful. But even those who are not medically fragile, just practice proper self-care. Pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention to how you're caring for yourself, how you're eating, how you're sleeping, and all those different things, because it's important. If you're able to really focus on those things and be more present right now as this is going on, you won't become irrational. And that's probably going to be the most important thing. Just stay really, really present with yourself, and proper self-care is the most important.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.